When Daniel and Sarah Foster decided to adopt, they never imagined their lives would become a living nightmare. After years of trying to have children of their own, and enduring countless rounds of IVF treatments, miscarriages, and silent heartbreak, the couple turned to adoption. They wanted a child to love, someone to fill the quiet halls of their modest home in Vermont. They had so much love to give, and they were ready. The agency they worked with sent them profiles of many children, but one file stuck out, a quiet, withdrawn 8-year-old boy named Eli. His photo showed a pale-faced child with dark circles under his eyes and a look that was haunting. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't trying to win over potential parents. He simply stared at the camera with a kind of cold emptiness that unsettled Sarah the moment she saw it. But something tugged at her heart. "This one," she whispered, showing the photo to Daniel. "I don't know why, but I feel like we're supposed to help him." The social worker was hesitant. Eli had been in and out of foster homes since he was 3. Families always returned him. They said he was too quiet, emotionally unreachable, strange. Some hinted at odd behaviors they couldn't explain. He never spoke of his past. He never cried. He never laughed. But he wasn't violent. He wasn't dangerous. Just empty. Daniel and Sarah didn't care. They believed in second chances. They believed in love. When they met Eli for the first time, he didn't smile. He didn't say hello. He simply looked at them, tilted his head slightly, and said in a soft, even voice, "You're not like the others." Then he turned and walked away. That night, Sarah couldn't sleep. There was something about the boy. Something heavy in the air. But they brought him home anyway. And for the first few weeks, things were oddly calm. Eli followed rules. He ate his meals in silence. He sat for hours drawing quietly in a corner. He slept soundly, never making a sound. But then things began to change. It started with the drawings. Eli drew obsessively, hundreds of pages a week. At first, they were simple sketches, houses, trees, stick figures. But then, the images grew darker. Sarah found one drawing of a woman, she thought, lying in bed with something shadowy standing over her. Another showed a man, Daniel, crying in the corner while a black mass with red eyes loomed nearby. She showed the pictures to Daniel, trying to laugh it off, but a knot was growing in her stomach. One night, Sarah woke to the sound of whispering. She sat up, heart pounding. The whispers were coming from the hallway. When she opened the door, Eli stood there, staring at her, whispering to the wall. "Who are you talking to, Eli?" she asked, her voice trembling. He turned slowly and said, "He doesn't like when you watch." The next day, Sarah found scratches on the walls of Eli's room. Deep gouges, as if made by fingernails. Eli denied making them. He simply said, "He gets angry sometimes." Daniel thought it was a phase, trauma manifesting in strange ways. But Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Deeply wrong. Then came the nightmares. Eli began screaming in his sleep. Blood-curdling screams that sent chills down their spines. When they rushed into his room, he was always awake, sitting up, staring into the corner. "He watches me sleep," he whispered once. "He says you're next." Daniel insisted they see a therapist. Eli was taken to a child psychologist who worked with children with severe trauma. After the first session, the psychologist asked to speak to Sarah and Daniel privately. "I've never met a child like this," she said, clearly shaken. "He's not dissociating. He's not making up stories. He speaks of this man in the walls as if he's real. And the way he describes him, it's terrifying. Not imaginary friend stuff. More like he's recounting something he's truly experienced." Sarah's hands trembled as she gripped Daniel's arm. "What should we do?" The psychologist shook her head. "Watch him. And if anything escalates, call me immediately." But things escalated fast. One night, Daniel woke to find Sarah missing. He searched the house in a panic and finally found her in the basement, sitting in the dark. She didn't respond when he called her name. When he touched her shoulder, she gasped and looked at him with wide, terrified eyes. "I heard him," she whispered. "He told me secrets. About Eli. About us." Daniel took her upstairs, shaken. She couldn't remember going down there. The next morning, Sarah found another drawing. It showed the basement. And her, sitting exactly where she had been. And behind her, the dark figure again. That was the final straw. Daniel set up cameras throughout the house. He didn't believe in ghosts or demons. But something was wrong. And they needed answers. The footage was normal for the first 2 nights. Just Eli getting up to use the bathroom. Shadows shifting as the lights flickered. But on the 3rd night, at exactly 3:03 a.m., Eli stood up in his room, opened his eyes wide, and began speaking in a voice that wasn't his. The voice was deep, ancient, angry. "He belongs to me. They always give them back. You should too." The next morning, the video was gone. Deleted from the system. Daniel was horrified. He was a tech expert. No one had access but him. They confronted Eli. "Do you remember anything about last night?" He just looked at them and said, "He says if you try to take me away, he'll hurt you. Like the others." Sarah screamed. "What others?" Eli blinked. "The ones who sent me back. They're all gone now." Terrified, they contacted the agency. They needed to know more. What they discovered chilled them to their core. 4 of Eli's past foster families had died under mysterious circumstances. A fire. A car crash. A suicide. And one couple, simply vanished. No one had connected the dots before. No one wanted to. That night, Sarah packed a bag. "We have to take him back," she cried. "I'm sorry, Daniel. I can't. I can't stay here with him." But Daniel refused. "He's just a child." But that night, as the clock struck 3:03 a.m., the power went out. And the house filled with whispers. Sarah screamed. Daniel grabbed her, pulled her toward the door, but it wouldn't open. None of them did. Then, silence. They turned, and saw Eli standing at the top of the stairs. "He says you failed the test," Eli whispered, his eyes now pitch black. The lights exploded. Sarah screamed as a shadow raced through the hall. And then, silence. When Sarah opened her eyes again, it was morning. Daniel was gone. The house was untouched. No signs of a struggle. Eli sat at the table, eating cereal. "Where's Daniel?" she asked, her voice cracking. Eli shrugged. "He said he didn't want to stay." Sarah ran to the police. Reported her husband missing. Told them everything. But when they searched the house, the footage was wiped. There was no evidence of anything wrong. Just a confused woman, and a quiet boy. Eventually, they ruled Daniel's case as a voluntary disappearance. Another man who walked away from his life. But Sarah knew the truth. She gave Eli back to the agency. Moved away. Changed her name. She didn't look back. Years later, she saw a news article. A new couple had adopted Eli. She said a prayer for them. Because some boys aren't haunted. Some boys are the haunting.